All right, so we have reboots, sequels, trailers, adaptations galore. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
It's a me,
Dario!
Woohoo! Let's go!
All right, so there's a lot here that I missed in the last few weeks, so I'm going to go through. I kind of picked the ones that seem the most interesting, and I'm going to try to go through them. But before I get into it, let me just give you a quick reminder. You can listen to the podcast anywhere. SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, the iHeartRadio app, everywhere. Just type in Super Dario World. You'll find it right there. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram, at Super Dario World on Instagram, or just follow my Facebook page, Super Dario World. Anyway, so let's begin with the easiest one. This one I actually thought it looked kind of cool. A trailer was released for a new animated Mortal Kombat movie. The title is called Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. And it's kind of weird. It's R-rated, first off, which is great. Anything Mortal Kombat has to be R-rated. It's a must. But the animation looks pretty cool. And the thing here is, based on the trailer, it seems like they're actually going to follow the story of a Mortal Kombat tournament. It's not just going to be a Scorpion one-off. So that's actually pretty cool. Check out the trailer. Again, Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge. Now, on very, very interesting news, the producer of the Lethal Weapon franchise, Stan Lin, spoke in an interview recently, and he confirmed that Lethal Weapon 5 is happening, or that pretty much everything is set for a Lethal Weapon 5 movie to happen, except, getting the script done. So, I'll just read you the full quotes, okay? I'll read you both quotes. We're trying to make the last Lethal Weapon movie. Dick Donner's coming back. The original cast is coming back, and it's just amazing. The story itself is very personal to him. Mel and Danny are ready to go, so it's about the script. There's another quote from Richard Donner, again, Dick Donner, well, I think he's the director. And I'm ready to do 5. It's called Lethal Finale. It's very dark. And we're all set to go, and now Warner Brothers is doing their old-fashioned tricks. Now Warner Brothers. There's this guy who runs the studio who's great, but they have these people in the legal department who do the negotiating in the most counterproductive way. They should be sent to a studio and work with the producers and directors and the actors and learn what makes a film and then negotiate, but it's embarrassing. It's just embarrassing. And it's too bad because there's a wonderful writer named Channing Gibson who wrote 4 for me, and we have really great story. It is dark, but I wanted it to end on an emotional note, and I don't think it's going to happen. It's heartbreaking. So that's brutal in itself because one dude is actually really, really optimistic about it, and one dude is not at all. So I mean, if lawyers are the only reason why the movie doesn't get made, that's just stupid. Why would you not hire the writer the director wants? I mean, you got the stars already in, the producer in, and it sounds like the director's in. What more do you need? Now, what would the story be about? I have no idea. Murtaugh was trying to retire since the very first one. Like, I'm too old for this shit. And now both of them are most definitely too old for this shit. Also, number 4 was great. I don't know how you're going to get a better villain than Jet Li. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can. It would be pretty easy because there's a lot of good actors out there and characters that could be written. But it's heartbreaking because it seems like it's right there. All it needs is just one slight push. Maybe that's why they're doing these interviews, to try to get that little push there. So I'm hopeful. I'm really excited. I love the Lethal Weapon franchise. Overall, I think it's better than Die Hard, the Die Hard franchise, because Die Hard has some stinkers. I think all Lethal Weapons are at least okay. They go from great to good to okay, but they're in that range. So, whereas Die Hard actually has some pretty big stinkers in there. Anywho, moving on. Netflix announced something terrible. Well, Netflix is doing is dipping its toes into anime a lot. So it announced. Well, I'll tell you the good one and the bad one. It announced and released a trailer for an upcoming series, Ghost in the Shell SAC_2045. I'm not a big fan of 3D animation as much as I am of 2D animation, but the trailer looks pretty interesting. I'm not a big fan of the music or the feel they're trying to give it. Maybe that's just for the trailer. I would rather they keep it like the old school, darker noir style that they did for the original Ghost in the Shell, the movie. But I guess it's okay. I guess it's acceptable. I don't know the rating for this movie. It should be rated R. Like I said, Netflix is really, really dipping its toe into anime. I think I've talked about this before. I think the future of a lot of sci-fi fantasy is animation, and it's getting bigger and bigger here in the States. It's the biggest thing in Japan, so I think it's just going to keep getting bigger here in the States. So that's probably the way of the future. We'll see what happens. Okay. I won't get into it because the Ghost in the Shell movie, the one with Scarlett Johansson was terrible, and it's because it lost the main point of the movie. Here, we just saw a trailer with a little bit of action. Maybe it didn't lose the point of the story, but I'll save that and I'll wait till I actually see something from it. The thing that I thought was a terrible idea, though, announced by Netflix as well, is that they're doing a live-action adaptation of the anime and manga One Piece. Now, for those of you who don't know One Piece, it's basically an anime about pirates, but it's not your traditional pirates. Let's just say untraditional pirates. Some of them have powers. Well, a lot of them have powers and unhuman-like skills. Now here's the thing about One Piece. One Piece has been going on for fucking ever. Like, one of the reasons why I could never follow One Piece is because it never ends. It's nowhere near ending. It's been going on for fucking ever. The writer, well, the dude who does the manga, that's all his life. His entire life is writing, drawing One Piece. That's it. And he says that he's done it for over a decade, and he says that he's nowhere near close. He's not even at the half point yet of the story. So it's insane how long it is. It's good. I'll give it to you that. They're not just keeping it going for no reason. It's actually a pretty good show. But it's such an investment. My kid brother says one of his things is like he can't die until he finishes One Piece. He just can't. He can't die. He needs to know how it ends because he's already so committed. He's deep in there. Anywho, the thing that I think is a terrible idea is that Netflix greenlit a 10-episode series of it. The show's not finished yet, right? So if you're gonna commit to one, first off, terrible idea. As far as I've seen, adapting manga or anime or video games to live action doesn't always work out. It's too ridiculous. There's certain things that kind of work out. Mortal Kombat sort of could have worked out if they would have done it a little bit better, but no, there's just no way. It's especially the way that it's got a certain rhythm of comedy that humans can't. You can't reach that level. You don't have the charm of a cartoon. You don't have the skills of a cartoon. You don't have the freedom of an animated world. It's a bad idea. Adapting anything that's animated or manga into live action has not worked out. The closest thing that I've seen to working out is Alita Battle Angel, and even it's not perfect, but it's good. It's good. It's not the best, but it's good. And so, I think it's a terrible idea. And again, making it only 10 episodes, it's not even close to finished. So I guess if you're doing a story arc, but still you're going to be cramming too much in there, if you're going to do a Netflix live action adaptation of One Piece, you have to be committed to be doing it for a while, okay? A while. So I don't like this. I think it's a terrible idea. There's certain things that should not be adapted. One Piece is definitely one of it. It's too hard. Honestly, it's too hard. It's too much. Maybe wait till the end and you can cut off a whole bunch of filler, but still would be a terrible idea. Anywho, in other news, this is sad news. Actually, in a move that surprised nobody, the Uncharted movie, the video game Uncharted. It's Naughty Dog, I believe. Yeah. Well, Uncharted recently, that project has been it's been a nightmare production. It's been on production hell since its beginning, since its conception, basically. However, it looks like there was light at the end of the tunnel with Tom Holland jumping in as Nathan Drake. The signing of Tom Holland was a big deal, and supposedly was going to debut December 18th, 2020. So it looked like it was going to get done. However, now it looks like it's been pushed back all the way up to March 5th, 2021. So at least another year, so another 15 more months for it. And I'm not surprised. You know why? Because it's very fucking difficult to adapt a video game that has over 20 hours of gameplay into a 2-hour fucking movie and have it make sense. It's a bad idea, all right? it's a bad idea. As I just recently mentioned, adapting a video game into live action is not an easy thing to do. Anywho, this also means that it comes hand to hand with another piece of news. Before, the Sony Pictures actually had a movie set to be released on March 5th, 2021, but since they moved Uncharted into that slot, they had to remove this movie, and that movie was Masters of the Universe, the He-Man. And that one, it has been undated. So pretty much the project is dead. If they take away your release date, that means that you're in production hell and you're probably never going to get made. So if it's interesting considering what I just said about One Piece. Uncharted has been in production hell, has been pushed back once again. I would not be shocked if it gets pushed back one more time. Would not be surprised at all. And okay, that's a form of animation trying to make it live action. It's not working out. On the other hand, you have Masters of the Universe, also a cartoon, being canceled indefinitely. Another cartoon tried to be made into live action, not gonna work out. On the other hand, if you make an animated show, let's say a Ghost in the Shell, if you make something else animated, if you make a Mortal Kombat animated, that thing takes life rather quickly. That thing gets produced rather quickly. So it's a big reason. I mean, I just said two news stories back to back. Two shows getting an animated version, easy, done. It's coming out. A movie coming out about Mortal Kombat, easily, done. On the other hand, animated things being switched into live action, not working out. So that's why I think the way of the future will be more and more animation. Because also you have more control of the project, you have more control of the acting, you have more control of the lighting, you have more control of everything. So honestly, don't be surprised that every year animation keeps, let's just say, gaining more and more ground. I think that's the way of the future. I think that's what Netflix is investing on. Instead of producing more really expensive shows to make that end up being, or movies that end up being in production hell, streaming service will focus more on animation stuff. That is my bet for the future. Anywho, moving on to another piece of news. We're sticking with Sony here. Sony announced a reboot for a popular franchise? Okay. I don't think it's popular, but they announced that they would be rebooting the popular 1997 creature horror movie, Anaconda. So, the movie has become a cult classic over the past 20 years. And they actually have a writer for it. It's going to be penned by the screenwriter for the Divergent series. If you never saw it, that's the one that I think it brought Shailene Woodley. It made her famous. If you don't know who Shailene Woodley is, that means that's how relevant the Divergent series was. Anyway, I actually liked the original Anaconda. I thought it was scary enough. Mainly because they used animatronics. They actually used like an actual robot of snake. Snakes are pretty scary. I like snakes, but anacondas freak me the fuck out. It was very tense because they were in the water with them. The second one, the Bloody Orchid, was stupid. It didn't make much sense. It wasn't as much fun. So rebooting the original one, I could see it. My only issue is that they're probably going to do. I'm probably going to use CGI more than they're going to do animatronic stuff, or puppetry, which just sucks. Honestly, if you're going to go for it, go for it. Try to... Actually, you know what? Just leave it alone. I don't see why Anaconda has to be remade. I feel like it still holds up pretty well. I mean, you won't get Luke Wilson back, you won't get Ice Cube back, you won't get Jennifer Lopez back. So, I'd say just leave it alone. It's fine. But also, I don't think anybody's clamoring for a giant snake movie anytime soon. Anybody? No. If we're going to see like a giant monster movie, give us Godzilla fighting. Like actually fighting, not just 120 minutes of people talking and only 20 minutes of Godzilla fighting. So, or The Meg, which I actually heard was pretty good. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's pretty good. Anyway, also I'm talking about potential reboot / sequel. Jim Carrey has been doing interviews for the movie Sonic, which actually Sonic is tracking to not be a total failure. Honestly, it's really weird, but this is actually a fun fact. Sonic is the second most popular video game franchise out there. They're right behind Super Mario. So, I mean worldwide. And so, who doesn't recognize Sonic the Hedgehog? People are going to see it just because of that, because of the name value, because it's interesting, because it's Jim Carrey. It might be the return of Jim Carrey, even though the movie seems kind of weird and seems kind of dumb, but whatever. just for the fact that that they actually switched out the animation for Sonic is enough. Honestly, to me, that's a clear sign that they actually listened to what the fans wanted. And I'll give the movie a shot just because Sonic doesn't look like a creature of your nightmares anymore. I'll give it a shot. But anyway, so Jim Carrey was talking about in an interview, was doing interviews for this movie, and he mentioned that he doesn't really think about sequels that much. He's considering it for this one for Sonic the Hedgehog because he doesn't feel like Dr. Eggman has fully evolved, and he still feels like there's a lot to see from Dr. Eggman, and that led to a question of the mask. So I'll read you the straight up quote. The mask, I think myself, it would depend on the filmmaker. It depends on a filmmaker, really. I don't want to just do it, but I would do it if it was some crazy visionary filmmaker, sure. So that's actually pretty interesting. I actually enjoyed the Mask. It's actually a pretty decent film. It's really funny. It was when Jim Carrey was at his best. So him coming back to play that role would actually be pretty interesting because the second one sucked. The Son of the Mask was stupid. I like Jamie Kennedy. I met Jamie Kennedy. He's a nice dude, but the movie sucked. And so the fact that he's opening up to it, and Jim Carrey, as far as I don't know, he doesn't really need the money. So if he'd actually just go back to doing comedy for the fun of it, it would be pretty interesting. So now he's at the point in his career where he could actually do it just to work with somebody who's cool. The problem is that I don't see somebody who's cool coming back just to... I don't see Christopher Nolan coming back to do The Mask. It'd be awesome, though. It'd be awesome. And actually, it's not that crazy because he's done comic book movies before. So it's not that insane. Anyway, so that's that. There's a possibility there. There's an open door there. We'll see if that develops into anything. I recently saw the trailer for Jon Stewart's new movie. Now, for those of you who don't know, Jon Stewart, he used to be the host of The Daily Show. He retired from that. Now he is writing and directing his own film. It's a political comedy, which has always been his shtick. The thing here is that the leads are, by the way, the movie's called Irresistible, and the leads are Steve Carell, Rose Byrne, and Chris Cooper. The trailer at least looks really funny. I'm a big fan of political comedy, but Rose Byrne is, she's probably the best female comic out there. Well, not comic because she's not a comic, but comedic actress out there. Just in the trailer alone, she's hysterical. I love that woman. I can't believe that the woman from The Apartment or the totally forgettable character from Troy has become such a huge hit. She's honestly underappreciated in comedy. She is extremely, extremely talented. Every movie that I see with Rose Byrne, first off, she's unbelievably beautiful, but every single movie that I see with Rose Byrne is hysterical. At least her role in it is hysterical. So I'm really looking forward to it. Steve Carell just keeps getting better and better. It's really weird that after he left The Office, he just kept getting better, because that usually doesn't happen. When somebody leaves such an iconic role, Michael Scott, they never do anything with it afterwards. He's actually destroying it out there. Dude's got Academy Award nominees. So I'm very happy for Steve Carell, and I'm really looking forward to this because, again, I like Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart he's a funny dude. Anywho, moving on, there was breaking news, but it's not as crazy as you might think. Disney announced that the ObiWan series would be put on hold while it's being retooled. Now Obi-Wan Kenobi himself, Ewan McGregor, said that it's not as dramatic as it sounds. Disney has figured out something very important here, and that's that the last franchise kind of put them in a sour spot with the fans. They're worried. Now, the movies have made them a lot of money. Each one passed $1 billion, which is what they wanted, I think, except Solo. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But they made money. However, the universe is kind of in shambles. The beauty here is that that this movie would take place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So they have room to work with there. It's possible for them to do something pretty cool there, because we have no idea what Obi-Wan did at that time. We know that Darth Maul's out there. I'm guessing they're going to try to tie it up with Solo a little bit. They're going to try to tie it up with the Clone Wars a little bit. There's room for them to work in the Star Wars universe. It's a very rich, it's a very large universe. However, I also have a theory. I've recently been playing Star Wars Fallen Order, and I haven't finished it yet, so no spoilers, anybody out there. And Obi-Wan appears at least once in the story, and he's just sending out a message, like the message that Leia sent him in the beginning of the movie, the Hollow message. There's a message from Obi-Wan Kenobi to Jedis there, so there might be a link there. Again, I haven't finished Fallen Order, but everything Star Wars that is not related to the movies has been very successful and well received by fans. Right? Rebels was well received by fans. Clone Wars was well received by fans. Fallen Order is well received by fans. Fan fiction is not fan fiction. Like the books have been well received by fans. So pretty much every single thing that they've done outside of the movie, like the rides have been well received by fans. Every single thing they've done for Star Wars that has nothing to do with the movies has been well received. So I think that this retooling might be Disney trying to be like, all right, maybe we should go in that direction, because that direction is making the fans happy, and they're still ardent about it. We still have the passion, but let's make something good. All right, and instead of just making something to make money, let's make it good. Again, Mandalorian. I can't believe I forgot to mention Mandalorian. Again, Mandalorian, not a movie, TV show. It's doing well. So I think they're trying to focus the Star Wars universe in that direction, hoping it would fix all that stuff. However, I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But I don't think this is a death sentence for the show. I think it might actually help make it better. It's a sign that Disney might actually be getting their act together when it comes to Star Wars. At least that's what I think. I'm hopeful. I'm a hopeful idiot. Anyway, continuing. I saw the trailer for the new movie Vivarium. Now this one comes out March 27th, and we have Imogen Poots and Jesse Eisenberg. You might remember Jesse Eisenberg from The Social Network, Imogen Poots from Black Christmas. This looks like a horror comedy that is very, very interesting. For those of you who don't know, Vivarium is where you keep it's like a place where you keep snakes. What do you call it? A tank where snakes can live. This is kind of like that, but for people. It's very weird, honestly. For some reason these dudes are they're stuck in suburbia by themselves and they can't leave. It looks very interesting. Again, when watching the trailer, I have no idea exactly what I'm seeing. I have no idea if it's science fiction. I have no idea if it's horror. I have no idea if it's a combination. If it's a comedy, it's a combination of all those things. It looks really good. It looks really, at least in the very least, interesting. So I'm looking forward to it. Honestly, I like Jesse Eisenberg. I like Imogen Poots. She's actually kind of like a recent. Recently she's being used more and more. At least in 2019. I need to check this because I don't want to say that she was in a movie that she wasn't, but I think she was in Summer. What's the name? This is gonna bug me. No, it's not who I thought. Okay, The Art of Self-Defense. That's where she was. Which again with Jesse Eisenberg. So she's being used way more, and she may appear on the TV show Y, which I'm very excited about. But I'll talk about that at some other time. Anywho, the last news of the day is that. It's been announced, it was announced recently that there's going to be a prequel novel to the series, The Hunger Games. And along with it, of course, we'd be getting a film adaptation for the book. Now, Lionsgate has confirmed this. They're planning to develop a new film adaptation of the forthcoming book. Like the book's not even out yet, and they're planning already how to adapt it. Now, the story about this prequel apparently centers around President Snow's origin story, which is very interesting. For those of you who don't remember, President Snow is the bad guy in the movie. So we'd be following the bad guy, I guess. Let me I can read you here whatever it's going to be about. The young Cornelius Snow is described as a teenager born to privilege, but searching for something more. He's friendly. He's charming. And, for now anyway, he's a hero. So, I'll just read you the rest. With this book, I wanted to explore the state of nature, who we are, and what we perceive is required for our survival. The Reconstruction period, 10 years after the war, commonly referred to as the Dark Days, as the country of Panem struggles back to its feet, provides fertile ground for characters to grapple with these questions and thereby define their views of humanity. A little bit of the story we get here is by the way, the book is called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Will be set 64 years before the events of the trilogy, starting on the morning of the reaping of the 10th Hunger Games, where Cornelius Snow is assigned as the mentor of the Triviate Girl of District 12. So, honestly, I was a bit thrown off by this. I don't understand why, at that particular period, I mean, I don't understand a lot of things about this. First off, I guess I should remind you. All right, for those of you who don't remember, the Hunger Games came after it was something that happened after a rebellion. So you would think it happened. The movies take place in about the 74th year. I think it's the 74th Hunger Games. So 74 years after the rebellion. Wouldn't you kind of show how the rebellion happened? I mean, wouldn't that be fun? Like that seems like an interesting period to see. Not how it came to be, and also one of the evil dictator dude, how he became evil. I guess it's a villain origin story, and I guess that's how he's corrupted. Or I honestly have no idea. I don't see why this period of time would be more interesting than a rebellion. But all right, Susan Collins restored the book. I've gotten to this argument before. The first book is the best one. The second one is The third one is as well. She didn't close that. She didn't know how to close. She set up a really interesting premise, and then she didn't know how to close the story. In the movies, however, the first movie is kind of The second movie is the best, and the other two are meh. So they, again, did not know how to close. It was a rocky start, good middle. Actually, the second movie, Catching Fire, is better than the book. So I don't know. I'm not that excited. I'm not the biggest Hunger Games guy. I like the premise of it. I like the setup for it. It just didn't execute very well. Anywho, that's it. And we've gone through a lot, but that's it. That's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Dario the Show on Instagram. As always, thank you for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow.